The Discovery. The ancient moon of Zephyr 7 hung in the endless void of space, its cratered surface hiding secrets that had slept for millennia. Dr. Rachel Chen adjusted her helmet's visor as she carefully maneuvered her way through the dark corridors of what appeared to be an alien temple, her archaeological instincts tingling with every step. Control, this is Chen. I'm approximately 50 meters below the surface. She spoke into her comm unit, her breath fogging slightly in the recycled air of her suit. The architecture down here is unlike anything in the galactic database. Static crackled before the response came through. Copy that, Dr. Chen. Proceed with caution. The Galactic Archaeological Commission has zero tolerance for contamination protocols. Rachel rolled her eyes. The GAC and their endless rules. Sometimes she wondered if they actually wanted to discover anything or just preserve everything in amber forever. She continued deeper into the structure, her suit's lights illuminating crystalline walls that seemed to pulse with an inner radiance. The corridor opened into a vast chamber, and Rachel's breath caught in her throat. In the center of the room stood a pedestal, and upon it rested what could only be described as armor, but unlike any armor she'd ever seen. It was black as the void between stars, yet somehow seemed to shimmer with an oily iridescence. The material appeared both solid and liquid, existing in a state that defied conventional physics. Control, I found something, Rachel whispered, approaching the pedestal. Some kind of ceremonial armor, maybe. It's extraordinary. Dr. Chen, do not touch anything. We need to send a full containment team. But Rachel was already reaching out, her scientific curiosity overwhelming her caution. As her gloved fingers made contact with the armor's surface, everything changed. The armor suddenly liquefied, flowing up her arm like living mercury. Rachel tried to pull back, but it was too late. The substance engulfed her entire body in seconds, seeping through her environmental suit as if it wasn't there. She felt a moment of pure terror as the alien material covered her face, but then she could breathe. Better than before, actually. Dr. Chen. Report. What's happening? Control's voice was frantic in her ear. Rachel looked down at herself. The armor had solidified again, forming a second skin that moved with her every gesture. Faint blue patterns pulsed across its surface like bioluminescent veins. She felt stronger, more aware, as if her senses had been amplified tenfold. I'm fine, she said, surprised by the calm in her voice. The armor, it's bonded with me somehow. An alarm began blaring through the temple. Red warning lights flashed from hidden recesses in the walls. Dr. Chen, multiple ships are entering the system. Galactic enforcement vessels. They're demanding you surrender immediately. Rachel felt a surge of information flood her mind. Tactical data, escape routes, defensive capabilities. The armor was teaching her, showing her how to use its systems. They knew, she realized aloud. They knew this was here all along. Heavy footsteps echoed through the corridors. Through the armor's enhanced senses, Rachel could detect at least 20 armed personnel approaching her position. Various alien species, all wearing the distinctive blue and silver uniforms of galactic enforcement. A tall, reptilian Draconis commander entered the chamber, his weapon trained on Rachel. Human Rachel Chen, you have activated a Class Omega restricted artifact. By order of the Galactic Council, you will submit to immediate containment. Rachel raised her hand slowly. Commander, I didn't know what this was. It just happened. The Vanir Death armor was never meant to be worn again, the commander hissed. Especially not by a primitive species like yours. The armor pulsed at his words, and Rachel felt its indignation. Images flashed through her mind. Great battles, noble warriors, a civilization that had protected the galaxy for eons before mysteriously vanishing. I don't think it agrees with your assessment, Rachel said, feeling power coursing through her limbs. The commander's scaled hand tightened on his weapon. This is your final warning. Submit or be subdued. Rachel made her choice. The armor responded instantly, generating a force field that deflected the energy blasts as the guards opened fire. Moving with speed and grace she'd never possessed before, Rachel darted between her attackers. The armor guided her movements, turning her into a blur of motion that the guards couldn't track. She didn't harm them. The armor seemed to understand her desire for non-lethal force. Instead, she disarmed them with precise strikes, leaving them stunned but alive. Impossible, the commander gasped as Rachel approached him. No human should be able to interface with Vanir technology. Maybe you don't know humans as well as you think, Rachel replied. With a thought, the armor generated a pulse that overloaded the temple's security systems. She sprinted through the corridors, the armor mapping out the fastest route to the surface. Behind her, she could hear reinforcements arriving, but she was already too far ahead. Breaking through to the surface, Rachel saw her research shuttle where she'd left it. But surrounding it were 3 galactic enforcement cruisers, their weapons powered up and aimed directly at her. Dr. Chen, the voice boomed from the lead ship. You are hereby declared a Class 1 galactic threat. Surrender the armor or be destroyed. Rachel stood her ground, feeling the armor's systems coming fully online. Targeting data, defensive protocols, and something else. A communication array far more advanced than anything humanity had developed. You don't understand, she called out. The armor chose me. It has something to show us. The Council's decision is final. You have 10 seconds to comply. Rachel closed her eyes, reaching out to the armor's consciousness. Help me, she thought. Show me what to do. The armor responded with a surge of power. Rachel felt herself lifted off the ground as wings of pure energy manifested from her back. The cruisers opened fire, but their weapons couldn't penetrate the armor's shields. With a thought, Rachel rocketed into the sky, leaving the moon's surface behind. The cruisers gave chase, but the armor was faster, more maneuverable. She broke through the atmosphere and into open space, the vast expanse of stars stretching before her. I need somewhere to go, she said aloud, and the armor provided coordinates, a location in neutral space beyond the Council's immediate reach. As she accelerated away from Zephyr 7, Rachel realized her life would never be the same. She was now wearing the most powerful weapon in the galaxy, and everyone wanted it back. But the armor had chosen her for a reason, and she was determined to find out why. The chase was on, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Awakening. The abandoned mining station orbited a dying red star in the outer rim, its skeletal frame providing the perfect hiding place for a fugitive. Rachel Chen floated through its derelict corridors, the Vanir armor humming softly against her skin like a second heartbeat. 3 days had passed since her escape from Zephyr 7, and the galaxy had erupted into chaos. News feeds across every civilized world broadcast her image with dire warnings. Human terrorist steals ancient superweapon. Primitive species threatens galactic peace. Shoot on sight order issued for Dr. Rachel Chen. They're really painting me as the villain, aren't they? Rachel muttered, watching a news projection from her wrist display. The armor had integrated seamlessly with her personal tech, enhancing everything beyond human engineering limits. A voice echoed in her mind, not her own, but somehow familiar now. They fear what they do not understand, Rachel Chen, as they feared us. The armor had been communicating with her more frequently, sharing fragments of memories and knowledge. She learned that the Vanir weren't conquerors as the Council claimed, but protectors. Their death armor was actually called the Guardian's Mantle, designed to defend the weak against cosmic threats. A proximity alert jolted her from her thoughts. Someone had found her. One ship, the armor informed her. Krellian design. Single occupant. Rachel tensed, preparing for another fight, but the armor remained calm. Wait, it advised. This one is different. The airlock cycled open, and a tall, four-armed alien entered. His blue-gray skin was marked with intricate tattoos, and his 6 eyes blinked independently as they focused on Rachel. Dr. Chen, he said, raising all 4 hands in a gesture of peace, I am Krex of the Krellian Truth Seekers. I come not to capture you, but to help. Why should I trust you? Rachel asked, the armor ready to respond to any threat. Krex slowly reached into his satchel and produced a small crystal. Because I know what the armor really is and why it chose you. The crystal projected a hologram, an ancient star map with Earth at its center. The Vanir didn't disappear, Krex explained. They seeded their DNA across the galaxy, hiding their legacy in primitive species they believed showed promise. Humans were one of their greatest successes. Rachel stared at the hologram. You're saying humans are part Vanir. Approximately 15% of your genetic code matches theirs perfectly. That's why the armor accepted you. It recognized its creator's descendants. The armor pulsed in confirmation, flooding Rachel's mind with memories of the Vanir's final days. They had foreseen a great darkness coming to the galaxy and had prepared for it by scattering their essence among younger races. The Council knows this, Krex continued. They've suppressed the truth for millennia, afraid of what would happen if humans learned of their heritage. Rachel felt anger rising. So they'd rather paint us as primitives than admit we might be equals. Worse, they fear you might be superior. A new alert sounded, multiple ships dropping out of hyperspace. The Council had found them. 30 vessels, the armor reported, including a Dreadnought-class battleship. Krex's eyes widened. They'd brought the hammer of justice. They mean to end this now. Rachel moved to the station's command center, her mind racing. The armor showed her the tactical situation. They were completely surrounded. Dr. Chen, a familiar voice crackled over the comm. It was Admiral Thravix, Supreme Commander of the Galactic Fleet. This ends now. Surrender the armor, and we'll show leniency. Leniency? Rachel laughed bitterly. Like you showed the Vanir. There was a pause. The Vanir were a threat to galactic stability. No, Rachel said, the armor sharing its memories with her. They were your betters, and you couldn't stand it. You betrayed them during the Shadow War, left them to die fighting an enemy that threatened us all. Lies and propaganda, Thravix snarled. You have 1 minute to comply. Krex placed a hand on Rachel's shoulder. There's another way. The armor, it has a message, something the Vanir left for their inheritors. Rachel closed her eyes, diving deep into the armor's consciousness. She found it, a recorded message preserved for countless millennia. This is Executor Prime Valen of the Vanir Guardians. A noble voice spoke in her mind. If you hear this, then our plan has succeeded. The armor has found one worthy of our legacy. Images flooded her consciousness. The true history of the galaxy, the betrayal of the Council, and most importantly, the approaching threat that had forced the Vanir to take such drastic measures. The Devourers are coming, Valen continued. A force from beyond our galaxy that consumes all life. We fought them once and barely survived. They will return, and when they do, our inheritors must be ready. Rachel opened her eyes, understanding flooding through her. The armor wasn't a weapon of conquest. It was a tool of salvation. Admiral, she broadcast to the fleet, I'm transmitting something you need to see. Using the armor's advanced systems, she projected Valen's message directly into every ship's computer. For several minutes, silence reigned as thousands of beings witnessed the truth they'd been denied. This can't be real, Thravix stammered. It is, Krex said, adding his voice to the transmission. I spent my life studying Vanir artifacts. Everything in that message can be verified. The armor pulsed again, drawing Rachel's attention to long-range sensors. Something was happening at the edge of the galaxy. Energy signatures unlike anything in the databases. They're here, Rachel whispered. The Devourers. They're already here. Panic erupted across the fleet's comm channels as sensor officers confirmed her readings. Massive objects were entering the galaxy, leaving dead systems in their wake. Admiral, Rachel said firmly, we can argue about the past later. Right now, you need me. The armor contains tactical data from the last war. Without it, the galaxy doesn't stand a chance. Frevix was silent for a long moment. What do you propose? A truce. Let me help you prepare for what's coming. The Vanir left us their knowledge for a reason. The Council will never accept a human wielding such power. Then the Council needs to evolve, Rachel replied. Because like it or not, humanity is part of this galaxy's destiny. We always have been. The armor hummed approvingly as Rachel felt its systems fully synchronize with her nervous system. She was no longer just Dr. Rachel Chen, archaeologist. She was a guardian, inheritor of the Vanir legacy, and possibly the galaxy's last hope. Very well, Frevix said finally. Temporary truce. But know this, the moment you show any sign of betrayal. I understand, Rachel cut him off. Now let's save the galaxy. As the fleet regrouped around the station, Rachel felt the weight of destiny settling on her shoulders. The armor had chosen her not just because of her genetics, but because of her spirit, the human drive to explore, to understand, to protect. The Devourers were coming, but this time, the galaxy wouldn't face them divided. This time, they had humanity on their side. And the galaxy would learn why the Vanir had placed such faith in these remarkable primates from a small blue world. The Alliance. The Galactic Council chamber had never seen such tension. Representatives from 1,000 worlds filled the vast amphitheater, their varied forms creating a tapestry of life that spanned the known galaxy. At the center of it all stood Dr. Rachel Chen, the Vanir armor gleaming under the chamber's lights. 6 months had passed since the Devourer's return. 6 months of desperate battles, narrow escapes, and gradually building trust. The armor had proven invaluable, its ancient tactical data allowing the Allied fleets to hold the line against the extragalactic threat. Honored representatives, Rachel addressed the assembly, her voice carrying clearly thanks to the armor's enhancement. I stand before you not as a conqueror, but as a guardian. The Vanir chose humanity to carry their legacy forward, and I intend to honor that trust. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Some species still viewed her with suspicion, but many had witnessed her courage firsthand during the defense of the Kilari homeworld or the evacuation of the Nexus Prime Station. Councillor Zextol of the Vrin Consortium rose on her crystalline limbs. Dr. Chen, you have proven your worth in battle, but the question remains, what happens after the war? Will you relinquish the armor? Rachel had expected this question. The armor cannot be removed. It has bonded with me at a molecular level, but I propose something better than relinquishment, integration. She gestured, and the armor projected a complex holographic display. The Vanir didn't just leave us weapons. They left us knowledge. Scientific advancements, medical breakthroughs, technologies that could elevate every species in this chamber. Admiral Frevix, now her unlikely ally, stepped forward. The human has shared tactical data freely. Without her insights, we would have lost dozens of systems by now. But can we trust her species with such power? Demanded the Korvax delegate. Humans are young, impulsive. His words were cut short as alarms blared throughout the chamber. The massive view screens flickered to life, showing a Devourer fleet emerging from hyperspace directly above the Council world. They found us, someone screamed. Panic erupted, but Rachel remained calm. The armor had already analyzed the situation and formulated a response. Everyone, evacuate to the emergency shelters. Admiral, I need your fleet to form a defensive perimeter. There's not enough time. Frevix protested. They're already launching spores. Rachel smiled grimly. Then it's time to show you what human determination looks like. She launched herself through the chamber's transparent dome, shattering it as she rocketed toward the enemy fleet. The armor's wings manifested, crackling with energy that rivaled a small sun. The Devourers were massive biomechanical horrors, each ship a living organism designed solely for consumption. Their spores, deadly seeds that could consume a planet's biosphere in hours, rained down toward the surface. Rachel intercepted them mid-flight, the armor generating a web of energy that vaporized thousands of spores. But more kept coming. "I need more power," she called to the armor. "Warning," it responded. "Full power deployment will tax your human physiology beyond safe limits." "Do it anyway." That's what humans do. We push beyond our limits. The armor complied, and Rachel felt power surge through her like never before. She became a beacon of light in the sky, the armor's true capabilities unleashing for the first time since the fall of the Vanir. Energy lanced from her form, striking the devourer ships with pinpoint accuracy. Their organic hulls, supposedly impervious to conventional weapons, buckled and burned under the assault. The armor wasn't just drawing on its own power, it was channeling Rachel's indomitable human spirit, that unique quality that had caught the Vanir's attention millennia ago. Below, the council members watched in awe as a single human turned the tide of battle. The devourer fleet, faced with power it hadn't encountered in 50,000 years, began to retreat. But Rachel wasn't done. She pursued them to the edge of the system, ensuring they couldn't regroup for another attack. Only when the last devourer ship vanished into hyperspace did she allow herself to rest. She descended back to the council chamber, where thousands of beings waited in stunned silence. The armor had pushed her body to its limits, and she stumbled as she landed. Krex rushed to support her, followed by Admiral Thravix and, surprisingly, many of the council members who had opposed her moments ago. "That," Rachel said weakly, "is why the Vanir chose humanity. Not because we're perfect, but because we never give up. We'll sacrifice everything to protect others." Councillor Zextal approached, her crystalline form glowing with emotion. "We have been fools," she said. "The Vanir knew what we refused to see, that humanity's potential exceeds our own in ways we cannot measure." The chamber erupted in agreement. The display they'd witnessed had shattered centuries of prejudice and fear. "I propose a new alliance," Rachel continued, straightening despite her exhaustion. "Not just against the Devourers, but for the future. The Vanir's knowledge belongs to all of us. Humanity will share everything the armor teaches us. And in return," Thravix asked, "accept us as equals. Give humanity a permanent seat on the council. Let us help guide the galaxy toward the future the Vanir envisioned." The vote was unanimous. In the months that followed, the alliance grew stronger. Human ingenuity, combined with Vanir technology and the diverse capabilities of 1,000 species, pushed the Devourers back to the galactic rim. Rachel became more than just a warrior. She became a symbol of unity. The armor continued to evolve, responding to her human creativity in ways the Vanir had only theorized. She developed new defensive systems, medical applications that could cure previously incurable diseases, and energy solutions that ended resource conflicts across the galaxy. 1 year after first donning the armor, Rachel stood on Earth as humanity was formally inducted into the Galactic Council. The ceremony was broadcast to every world, a moment that marked the beginning of a new era. "The Vanir believed in us," she told the assembled crowds. "They saw in humanity something special, not superiority, but potential. The potential to unite, to innovate, to protect. Today, we proved them right." The armor pulsed with approval, its consciousness now fully merged with Rachel's. Together, they had become something new. Neither fully human nor Vanir, but a bridge between past and future. As the ceremony concluded, Krex approached with news. "The Devourers are massing for a final assault. They're throwing everything they have at us." Rachel nodded, unsurprised. "Then we'll meet them with everything we are. Rally the fleets. It's time to end this war." The final battle was legendary. Ships from every corner of the galaxy fought side by side, led by humanity's unexpected guardian. Rachel, wielding the full power of the Vanir legacy, struck at the heart of the Devourer fleet. In the crucial moment, she didn't fight alone. The armor revealed its final secret. It could temporarily share its power with others. Rachel extended that power to representatives of every allied species, creating a network of guardians that overwhelmed the Devourer command structure. When the last Devourer fell, the galaxy knew peace for the first time in generations. Years later, children across the galaxy would learn about the human archaeologist who put on an ancient armor and changed history. They would learn how humanity, the youngest species in the Council, had taught the galaxy its most important lesson. That strength comes not from superiority, but from unity. Rachel Chen continued to serve as Earth's guardian, the armor now as much a part of her as her own heartbeat. She established academies to study Gainer technology, ensuring its benefits reached every world. She mediated disputes, explored uncharted space, and stood ready to defend against any threat. But perhaps her greatest achievement was proving that humanity belonged among the stars. The primitives had become protectors, the outsiders had become essential. And somewhere in the armor's vast consciousness, the spirit of the Vanir smiled, knowing their legacy was in good hands. The galaxy had indeed lost its mind when a human donned the death armor, but in losing its old prejudices, it had found something far more valuable: hope for a united future.